How you doing, people? Robert here, AKA Robess Anti-Corruption Scotland. The last video I spoke in about was democracy and the illusion of democracy. I gave brief details of how this works and doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is take the point further on this video. Now, as I said in the last video, democracy, there is none. You have a political spectrum. The Green Party, Labour, Tories, Lib Dems, SNP and Independents, which is all part of the system, part of the state, part of the fraud, part of the corporate elite. And it does not work when it comes to the people. The landmass of Scotland, landmass of England, landmass of Wales and landmass of Ireland. And that's a fact. And you can see what's happening, right? People think it's all down to Stammer, Reeves and Rayner, but all these other tyrants are complicit because they're agreeing with it and they're voting on it against the sovereign people, the men, the women, sons and daughters, the elderly and the sick. And we can't have this, right? Now, to get rid of the illusion of democracy and put an end to the fraud, there is a remedy there that nobody is speaking about, that nobody's even brought to light and nobody's even considered because they're too busy playing with their rules, regulations and policies and fighting in their system. Well, we the people have to create a lawful system and eliminate the illegal system in its entirety, and that includes all politicians, the House of Commons and the House of Lords, right? Politicians, MPs, councillors, MSPs, and put people where the people should be in a position of power. Now, when I say remedy, what do I mean? Well, people, the remedy that I know that would work 1,000,000%, but people would have to comprehend and understand what it consists of, is a one people government. Well, this would overtake and outlaw the tyrants that's in power just now. Now, a one people government, what do I mean when I say that? A one people government is people selected by the people and put in a position of power where the people have control and can take back everything that's been stolen with the corporations and the corporate elite. Between now and May next year, the landmass of Scotland and the people of the landmass of Scotland have an opportunity of a lifetime to nip this in the bud. Forget about your indie ref, the SNP and all the political parties, right? They don't work for the people. All they do is cut back services, cause harm to the people and rob the people. And that's a fact. Now, hypothetical situation, let me give you an example. Example as is, if myself and Anti-Corruption Scotland was to set up a people party, not a political party, a people party, and run towards the Scottish elections and get the numbers and the people behind the people of Anti-Corruption Scotland, what could a people party achieve? Is there any difference, or is it the same rhetoric babble? Well, I can verify here in private capacity under full liability that there is a remedy. So if, example, people like myself was to do the right thing for the right reason, what could we achieve, what could we do, and how could we make change in people's lives? Well, I've been talking to people about this for a long time, over the months, all the way back, but I've never really had the goal to push it forward because I can never get the numbers, I can never get the support. Even when I was in the street trying to awaken the people, I still never get the numbers and I never get the support. And the funny thing is, I never ask for PayPals, FundMes or anything else, but it seems to be if you have YouTube channels or BitChute channels or whatever, and you say you need money to fund your channel, you get it when the channel doesn't cost you anything to run in the first place. So as far as I'm concerned, what the people are saying to you, they need money, fund me, PayPal, buy me a coffee, buy me a cup of tea, is nonsense. You're being scammed. That's as far as I'm concerned, because I've never asked for a penny anytime all the way through the 14 years over that I've done this. Now, back to the point. How For instance, hypothetical, remember people, this is just an idea and I'm putting out a seed to plant in people's minds. How could, for example, myself and Anti-Corruption Scotland or anybody else that was wanting to push this movement forward or any movement forward for a proper people party to represent the people of the landmass of Scotland, England, Ireland and Wales, right? Now, what would myself and Anti-Corruption do if I had that position and I wanted to move that forward? And what difference would it make in people's lives? Well, let me give you some examples. No manifestos, no promises, objectives that can be achieved. 1,000,000%. And this is some of the choices that we at Anti-Corruption Scotland would make if it was our position that we want to move forward with and get the numbers and get the people and create the biggest movement Scotland, the landmass of Scotland's ever seen. This is what I would do if I was in the front line for this. Eradicate children's panels because they are corrupt to the core. They steal sons and daughters and complicit in a major fraud and causing harm to families and destroying families, willfully and intentionally. Outlaw forced adoption in the landmass of Scotland with immediate effect. Create a family court where if social workers wanted to take families to court and try and remove their sons and daughters, they would have to do it through a court of law. And what I would suggest is a 3-tier judge system where there's 3 judges sitting and listening to evidence, so it's a fair, impartial court of law, no a hearing, administrative hearing. That would change automatically, right? And if it was shown that men and women acting in capacity as social workers was trying to take sons and daughters unlawfully and fabricate evidence, firstly, their licence would be removed and they would be prosecuted themselves for what they're doing. There would also be a higher authority above the 3 panel judges to oversee their decision that could overturn their decision with transparency and impartiality. Now, the question people will say, where's the money coming from? Well, that's easy to remedy, people. The money's already in the system. All you have to do is put it to the direction where it's supposed to be needed to deal with justice for families. And that's a fact. The other things that we would do, and I'm verifying this is what I would do if I was in this position, is eradicate all Lord Provosts. They're a waste of money, a waste of time, a waste of space. As for the ULEZ, that's another con, a money racket. What we could look at and make a difference is if there's a high population like the city centre, we can ban cars from going through there. Only public transport would be allowed with no charges, right? There shouldn't be a charge on the air, the land that belongs to the people that's already paid for it. It's a scam, people, and people are getting away with this because they represent corporations, and the downfall is people's ignorance to what's really going on and how this system works. It's corrupt to the core. The other thing that we would do is outlaw chemtrails in the landmass of Scotland. If you get caught in a plane chemtrail in the skies, you'll be prosecuted. Now, when it comes to sons and daughters, trafficking, abuse, murder and rape, relating to downloading images, for an example, if you have done this numerous times, you would be no bail, straight to jail. And that's a fact, because if the people got to where the people should be and the position of power is required to do what they've got to do, this could be done. What else could we do? What else could we do? We would make the police constables do their job in the proper format, not as officers, but constables, right? As I say, for a crime to be committed, there's got to be a corpus delicti. There's got to be a man or a woman or an injured party or a victim before a crime is committed. Harm, loss or injury, property damage, theft, or fraud within a contract. If there's none of those factors, there is no crime in law. Now, the other thing as well, there is no separations of powers in Scotland between the Scottish Government and the prosecution services. The Lord advocate as part of the government cabinet, and that can't be allowed, because if there's no separations of powers, everything that they do is void, null and void from the start, because there's a conflict of interest, and that's a fact. This system has been getting away with nonsense too long, causing problems for the people, and it needs to stop. Now, the other thing that we could do is we, Anti-Corruption Scotland, if we were in this position, or anybody that wants to go ahead with this, doesn't matter who, as long as it's for the benefit of the people, the benefit of the Lions of Scotland, is get the services back for the people. One of the things that we would do, right, as well, is cut aid by 50% with immediate effect, and put the money that's saved back into the Scottish economy to help the people, help the services flourish, and get where we should be. Because Scotland on a downward spiral, right? Doesn't matter what John Sweeney says, he's got everything, right? So he's just a constant liar, the same as the rest of these tyrants in the Scottish Parliament. Like Sturgeon was before. Like, it came to my attention the other day that that investigation into Sturgeon cost 2.7 million of taxpayers' money. 2.7 million. Think of the millions that could have been used to help the communities, the people, the vulnerable, the elderly, the sick, the services. Instead of that, we're wasting on a tyrant, a fraud, a scammer, and that's a fact. Now, the other thing is the national debt in the lands of Scotland. That could be investigated, right? Because we want to know why our people are paying interest on a debt that they didn't create. The national debt is created by corporations, and men and women that represent these corporations. Is done without the people's consent. You're coerced and forced into this, right? And that's why your income is getting cut down every opportunity they can steal from you. We the people in the landmass of Scotland, landmass of England, landmass of Ireland, and the landmass of Wales owe no debt. There's a maxim in law: he who creates owns. So whoever created these fictitious debts own them. It's nothing to do with the people, and it can be rebutted and challenged and investigated. And the ones that created it can be held to account, because they created it without, you didn't sign a contract, you didn't agree, and you didn't consent to this. It's just been forced on you. And as I say time and time again, people, there's two parts to this system: presumption and assumption. And if it's unrebutted, acquiescence silences consent, like all legislation when they're passing a bill, they don't feed the people, and then it goes into the media and they don't feed the people again. And what happens is they pass it because nobody has rebutted it, or it has never been challenged. And that's the problem that people don't get. The other thing about a one people government is that the people can hold the people that's elected to account, right? And the beauty of this is the people that's in power, that's running everything for the people of the landmass of Scotland, would be given the power if somebody within that people's government wasn't pulling their weight, could sack them. The other thing that Anti-Corruption Scotland would do if they were in that position, or anybody who wants to be in that position that's got the balls to stand up there, is that there would be no more mega expenses paid to people in the government, like second mortgages, heating expenses, electric expenses, food expenses, right? Because the way I see it, right, and this is a fact, there's people out there, some people that I know are doing 2 and 3 jobs and struggling to feed themselves and pay their bills. Why should these people be any different? They're getting paid a wage. The only time they should get expenses is if they're going to go to important business for the landmass of Scotland, to represent the people of Scotland, to get a better deal, investment and whatever else. That's the way it should work. It's sad for me to see what's happening and why people are allowing this to happen. You see what's happening. I think it's in January next year, they're going to start monitoring your telephone calls after 10 minutes. They're going to hammer you if you go into a bank and ask for over £1,000. You've not just got to tell them what you want it for. According to what's happening, there's a rule being brought in with HMRC, is my understanding. And what they're going to do is you've got to show evidence that you bought what you said you were going to buy, which is control. What's the other thing? There's another thing. I can't remember what the other thing is. But this can be stopped if the people wake up and start growing up here and start pushing back, right? These people are taking it for granted that because they're getting away with what they're doing and the people's doing nothing about it. That's why they keep pushing all these stupid Tom and Jerry laws and rules, regulations and policy, because the people are allowing it to happen and they need to stop it, right? I would love to do this, people, but I don't think I've got the energy to do that anymore, because somebody like myself, I'm a tyrant to the system. I've been told I'm a domestic terrorist to the system because of what I do and how I do it, because I expose the system for the fraud it does and the crimes it commits against people, right? The system has to change, and right now I see the landmass of Scotland, if the people decide to stand up, because I know people in my heart and soul are totally pissed off with this nonsense, right? But being pissed off, moaning and groaning and bitching about it's not going to make any change. You have to make that change. There's people pushing me to go back on the street, so I need to now seriously consider that, because what's on the street isn't working, right? It's time for change, people, and the people, as I said, are the change. Nobody is coming to save you, including UKIP or Nigel Farage in Reform, right? There's a for instance, he's going on a 6-week campaign about law, disorder and courts, right? That's a nonsense, people, right? There's a thing in law called sentencing guidelines. He's talking about strike 3 and you're out. You don't need a strike 3, you don't need to wait that period of time. If there's serious crimes that has to be addressed, what you do is you change the sentencing guidelines with immediate effect without delay. And if you get caught after the guidelines are changed and you've committed the crime with a severity, well, the severity of the sentence counts right there and then. This is a nonsense. Nigel Farage in Reform, right? They're saying a lot of good things, but when it comes to this, they're selling gimmicks. I know that when they were up here at the weekend, I seen people carrying Reform buckets for money. Buckets, people. How dare they come up here? It came in my attention too. Other instances happened as well, people. I'm going to see if I can interview these two people, if they're willing to do it. There's a man carrying banners about mass deportation and other things. He does it regular, right? And he was approached and told to take the banners down. They wouldn't want any banners, right? So what he did, it's my understanding, he went to the back of the march just to keep the peace. There was another incident where a female was giving out things about council tax and other things, and she was approached by one of these Reform and told to stop handing out leaflets. And it's my understanding the woman challenged and says, "Who are you to tell me what to do in Scotland? This is your country." So the question I'm putting to you people, right? Now they're talking about immigration, right? Somebody's carrying banners to dispute this immigration, to make change. They're told to take their banners down. And somebody's getting out leaflets about council tax and other issues that's affecting the people's lives, are challenged and told to stop handing them out. So the question I've got to ask right now, right, and it's concerning, what is Reform really about? And as far as I'm concerned, for these two instances alone, there's a hidden agenda. These people are marching with these people to support this march, and they're being told what they can do and what they can't do. And the question I've got to ask is, no man or woman can tell anybody, if I want to walk in the street and carry a banner, I'll walk on the street and carry a banner. Nobody can claim they're on the street, right? That banner's his property. The language on that banner's his property, and he has a right to express his opinion, right? And that's a fact in law. But expression of opinion and choice right now has been stolen from the people's rights, inalienable and inherent rights. And the law is inherent within people, no right from wrong, and do not commit harm, loss or injury, right? That's a law, right? That's a fact. But the corporations known as Police Scotland and any other police corporation are abusing their power, their overreach. That means they're overstepping the mark, and it needs to be held to account. And you've still got people out there fighting with these people, and that's where you're wrong. Do not get into a controversy, because that is what you get to deal with. They want you to fight with them. They want you to argue with them so they can lock you up, because they're on a power trip, because they think that the entity known as government, represented by Stammer, Reeves and Rayner, have a power over the sovereign people. in the landmass of Scotland, the landmass of England, landmass of Ireland and Wales, which they don't, right? All they have the power over is the person, the citizen. That's what they have. The question to think here is, when some man or woman gets arrested, who are they arresting? They aren't arresting the person or the citizen. They're arresting the flesh and blood, living, breathing man or woman. That's what people have to comprehend and understand. That's where you're being deceived, and that's where you're getting caught out. Because when they arrest the man or woman, you're classed as a person. And as I says, the old capital name, black ink, capita is diminutio, loss of status, from man to woman to person, citizen. And that's where you people have to comprehend and understand and put a stop to this nonsense. Anyway, people, I've gave you some ideas, but the remedy isn't an idea. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. And it can be put into practice if the people really want remedy. Do you want change? Do you want to have a private, quiet life? Because right now, they're trespassing on your private and family life, your opinion, your choice. There's one more point I want to bring up here that came to my attention, right? I need to investigate this. It's my understanding there's a Lidl in the city centre of Glasgow. When you buy your messages, you have to, I think Primark's doing it as well, right? You have to scan your receipt to leave the store. Now people representing these corporations, Lidl, Primark or any other one, cannot keep you in that store if you have paid for food. People have to comprehend and understand, right? That's control. They can't control you. That's unlawful detention, right? And that's a crime. The other thing is people have to make a choice in how their life goes with this when it comes to buying their food. You either sit and be a modern day slave and do what you're told like a puppy dog, or if they try to stop you if you leave the store, give them their food back and tell them you want a refund with immediate effect without delay, and boycott the store. That's how you stop this. The power lies with the people, but the mentality of the thinking of the people is wrong, and this is where they have to change the mentality, right? So anyway, I've given you some ideas about what a sovereign people government can do. Think on it, people, and please give me your response to my platforms and let me know what you think of what I've just said. That's just some of the things that can be done, right? That's just some of it, and it can be done. There is no manifesto if that was to happen. There is no false promises, because that's all a manifesto is, a promise. It has no lawful standing in law, right? And that's when they get into power, they say, oh, we're going to take maybe 1, 3, 5, 7 of that manifesto and forget it because we can't do it, we can't fund it. And that's how they get in the door, by lying. But somebody like myself, Anti-Corruption Scotland, and honourable people, wouldn't lie to people. I'll tell you how it is and what it is, what we can achieve and what we can't achieve. And whatever was put forward will be fulfilled, right? I know the sons and daughters issue is a main problem. The other thing that would be dealt with is the sheriff officers, because they're breaking the law, right? They're getting away with it. Massive fraud, trespass, and theft is occurring in the landmass of Scotland, England, Ireland and Wales, and it needs to stop, right? And it can be stopped if you get the right government and the right people in place to stop it and bring in laws. And the other thing that will happen here with Anti-Corruption Scotland, my pet hate, when they pass legislation in England, Westminster Parliament, they bring it up here and they pass it under a Scotland Act. That's them sneaking in the back door. Scotland's law is unique, right? And it needs to stay that way. Anyway, people, please share this information far and wide. Please let me know your thoughts on what I've told you. And everything I tell you is good heart and good intention. And if that was the way it was to go, change would happen with immediate effect. But you've got from now to May to make a decision what you want to do. Because if you let any of these tyrants, it doesn't matter what party in that parliament, you're going to get screwed. You're going to get robbed, raped and pillaged as usual. There's a few other things I want to talk about, but I don't want to make the video too long. But I'll give you the basics of what we would do, stuff that could be achieved. Like for instance, children's panels would be eradicated within 28 days of coming to power. Social services, forced adoption in Scotland would be outlawed within 28 days. A law would be passed that it would be outlawed that you can't steal a son or daughter for a mother or a family. The chemtrails, 28 days would be outlawed in the landmass of Scotland. The family courts would be set up within maybe 28 days, maybe a wee bit longer. We would push, if I was to go that way, people, and I'm just saying this is a hypothetical situation, right? I'm nothing, I'm just a man, try to educate the people, try to wake the people up, right? That's the way we go. And my credibility when it comes to fight with the system for the last 14 years shines, right? I'm out there, I talk the talk and I walk the walk, right? I'm not bullshit, don't ask you for money, fund me's or PayPals, right? So that's where I shine, that's where the difference is with a man that knows what he's doing and a man that knows what he's talking about. Anyway, people, please share this information far and wide. There's more information to come up, and I'm going to try and enlighten the people to wake them up. But you have to listen, pay attention, people. Please have trust in what I tell you. I'm not here to do videos. I hate doing videos. I'm not here to do videos to be on YouTube or TikTok or any other platform. If I could find another way of doing information to get people woke up, I wouldn't be on TikTok or YouTube. I've no interest in it. But that's the only way I can get the information out. Anyway, you people take care, be safe, and I hope you enjoyed this information, and I hope it gives you food for thought. Take care, people. Speak soon. Bye-bye.